Hello, amazing 8th grade. How's your week going? How's your time? We are actually in week 5 of distant learning, week 6 of quarantine, which is crazy. We have about another week or two to go before Governor Abbott might let us come back to school. I might have a baby by then, so I don't know. But my hope and my goal is to actually see you guys one last time before you officially say goodbye to Crown of Life and everything. Miss Cleland has said we're going to do graduation no matter what. So, but that's moving on in the future. So let's talk about science. We are actually going to do Cliff Notes version. I don't know if you know what Cliff Notes is. It's actually like a book that you can use if you have to read a big novel. It's a small little book that tells you the main things from the story, like your main facts, really short, quick notes. So we are going to do the Cliff Notes version of the human body system because we are running out of time. So over the next 3 to 4 weeks, that's what we're going to be focusing on. The last couple weeks of school, we have I've scheduled out some projects and activities for you guys, fun stuff, to really just make it easy towards the end. Well, we'll see. So get your note stuff. We are moving into the muscular and skeletal system this week. So I'm just going to give you like I said, the Cliff Notes, the really fast, this is the way it is, parts of the human body system. Now, from what I remember, I think Miss Gillum has already worked on this stuff with you guys, or not. I don't know. Just nod your head yes as you go with me. So let's start with the muscular system. And a lot of these words I'm going to share with you guys are your vocabulary words. So taking notes as we go is like you killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Muscular system, okay? The muscular system is what controls movement. It's probably the best way to break it down. So without muscles, or strong muscles even, you wouldn't be able to move whatsoever. So it's very important, like even up in space, they're always telling astronauts, get on that treadmill, constantly be working, because if they're not using their legs very often, I know they push themselves around and they do their little dances and whatnot. But if they're not actually having the gravity pushed down on them, they lose they lose a lot of their muscle. So if they don't have that muscle, when they come back to Earth, when they start walking because of the gravity, they're going to lose that control. So muscular system is very essential to us being able to function. Not saying you can't. There are 2 types of muscles that you want to be aware of. One is voluntary muscles. I'm just going to write voluntary. And the other one is involuntary. So the great thing about these vocab words is that you can almost just pick up what it means. I mean, volunteer means you raise your hand and you're volunteering yourself. You're like picking yourself up and you're able to decide that I want to make this choice. Okay, so voluntary are muscles you can control. And involuntary, as you probably guessed, in from Miss Hamry means not able. So voluntary muscles are muscles you cannot control. Sounds simple enough, right? So there's your notes. 2 kinds of muscles. Remember, muscular system is the control of movement. There's muscles we can control, like we can decide, like moving your finger muscle, moving your legs. Involuntary are the ones like your organ. You cannot whatsoever. You cannot mentally tell your heart to slow down. Yes, you can have been in a stressful environment, or maybe you worked out and your heart is really racing, and then you can tell your body to relax and everything, like just stay still, which allows your heart to catch up. But you cannot actually mentally or physically tell your heart, get your heart to just stop that craziness beating that it's trying to do. It has to voluntarily do it itself. So that's why it's involuntary. We aren't able to tell it what to do. Just like you think about your stomach or your digestion. You cannot tell it when to digest or how to do it. It just does it. So, something important how does movement actually happen? The movement happens by the muscles contracting and relaxing. When I say contracting, this is what I mean. Relaxing is letting go. Contracting, relaxing. Contracting, relaxing. So, we're going to add that to our notes. Movement equals, excuse me, some allergies going on. Contracting and relaxing. Okay, so as you're walking, I have the pink added here. As you're walking, your muscles are contracting on one and relaxing on the other. So they're constantly moving back and forward, or not moving back and forward, but they're exchanging this little movement in order to move. Now, what else is cool is that by moving, you're actually creating mechanical energy. If you don't know what mechanical is, it means movement energy and thermal energy. So when you're working out on that treadmill, you are contracting and relaxing your muscles as you go, but you're also creating thermal energy throughout your body. You're heating it up. And mechanical energy, you're making movement, basically. So, breakdown muscular system. Controls movement. 2 types of muscles. Voluntary you can control, involuntary you cannot. This is usually our organ system, muscles. Movement is from contracting and relaxing muscles. All of this results in 2 kinds of energy for us. All right, so you're with me? Now, to give you the lowdown on this part, there are 3 types of muscles. I don't have pictures to show you, but what's important is actually knowing where these kind of muscles are located. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3 on your notes under muscular system. And you have skeletal muscles. If I can spell it right. And you probably can guess what are skeletal muscles. That is vocabulary words. There's smooth muscles. Smooth. There is also cardiac. I'm blanking on the last one. And cardiac, if you don't know, cardiac system is heart. So skeletal is the, now this is where it comes into play. Skeletal muscles are voluntary, so you can control them. It's anything in your arms, your legs, your head, neck, like I'm going here. So they're voluntary that move your bones. So they do help protect your bones, which is amazing and great because the muscles are around your skeletal system. Okay, but it's what helps you move, basically. And what helps you move and what keeps the bone and the muscle connected is what we call a tendon. So the tendons are long, and if you actually look at a picture of a muscle connected to the bone, you'll see these long kind of like veins, lines. Those are your tendons. It's very easy to injure a tendon, and you have to fix it and regrow it. I've never done it, but I've heard it really does hurt. Some of you have probably stretched one, or you probably have torn one. You can't really break one. It just basically tears is what happens to our muscles. So I'm going to add that word in. And it holds muscles and bones together. Okay, now your tendons, when I say your skeleton and your muscles, they tend to, I'm going back to muscles. For this, the skeletal muscles tend to work in pairs. So if you think about it, your muscles that are right here, they're always pairs. There's 2 of them. So if you flex, one is stretching, this one down here, and this one is relaxing, basically. So it's like they always go opposite. So there's always pairs in every part. I mean, if you really think about it, in every part of your legs and your your arms and everything, there's 2 muscles that are doing something, because that's the way to give you an extra little boost about giving you more movements. Now, when it comes to smooth muscles, these are found in the involuntary parts These are the involuntary muscles in your internal organs. When I say internal, it's all this happening inside of you. Bam! That one's easy to remember. Smooth. Basically all the organ systems and muscles that are going on. So when you're thinking like, what's a muscle? Guys, your stomach is considered a muscle. It's made of smooth. It's a smooth muscle because it's involuntary. You cannot control it, but it's internal. So you really think about it, a lot of your organ systems are just big muscles acting on your behalf. The last one's cardiac, and like I said, it just means involuntary. It's still involuntary. Muscles in the heart. So skeletal is anything that's connected to the skeleton, all those muscles that we can control. Smooth is internal organs. Cardiac is just the muscles in the heart, but they're involuntary. So that is all of it is for muscular. That's the breakdown. There's actually quite a bit more of it, but if you get that for this week, you're going to want to really think about this. It's going to help you on your homework assignment. Now, moving forward, remember doing cliff notes. We got the skeletal system. So the muscular and skeletal system are really like they're buds almost. It's like we need one to do the other. That's why I've paired up different organ systems to work together. And these two are just like best friends. So we're going to go to the skeletal system. Okay, so what the skeletal system does is the muscular gives the movement. The skeletal system is what supports and gives shape to the body. So write that down. And also, not Dottie, body. I've been hanging out with my kindergartner too long. Also, it protects internal organs. So you would think that it would be the muscles, but the internal organs are the muscles, guys. It's the involuntary. So it protects internal organs. See, this is why I'm saying they're best friends. And it does one last thing. And stores calcium. You might be wondering, well, wait a minute. Guys, you need calcium, so that's why they always say drink milk. So if you can't drink milk, then you have to find another source of calcium in order to keep your bones strong. There are people that have osteoporosis that they have trouble producing calcium or keeping it in their bones. That makes it brittle and harder to do all of this stuff the skeletal system should be doing. So once again, it supports the body and gives it shape. It protects those internal organs, which is great. And it also stores calcium to help keep our muscles strong. Our bones strong. Now, what is between the bones? Okay, tendons help keep the muscles and the bones together. Okay, but what's between the bones is that it's called cartilage. And a lot of times you're going to hear people say, oh, I've lost a lot of cartilage. I've used this so much. That's because cartilage cannot be replaced naturally. We have found there are doctors working on ways to help rebuild cartilage and redo it. Sometimes we can produce it again on our own, but it's very easy to wear away. Cartilage. So a way to no longer have cartilage, this little cushion between your bones, is that is that you use that part of your body, those muscles and those bones over and over again, that by using that over and over again, you can wear away the cartilage after a while. For me, that's one reason why arthritis happens, because we've lost a lot of the cartilage. For me, I have this arm right here, I've used for puppetry for like 20 something years. And what we have to do is we're constantly using our hand like this. Well, if I'm constantly doing this movement for hours on end, for years on end, then I start losing cartilage, and the feeling like it starts hurting and everything. Arthritis starts happening. Arthritis has a lot more to do than just with the skeletal system, but I'm starting to lose that cartilage. Mr. Greenwald has to wear a knee brace when he plays soccer because his bones are rubbing up on each other basically in his knees because he's worn it away basically from years of doing soccer. So that's why you might even have it yourself. That's why we're always saying, athletes, take care of yourselves, because one day your body's going to come back and go kind of thing. So where were we? So cartilage is just flexible tissue. And if you want a fancy word for it, that reduces friction. Friction's like a rubbing up. Between joints. BW for between. There you go. And the last part we're going to get into is that there's four. There's four different types of joints that you will find throughout the skeletal system. Now, joints it's like kind of like a simple machine. It's probably the best way to put it. It's how we move our bones in our body. So, well, I know muscular system is what keeps us moving, but skeletal system is what's attached to the muscles, and it allows us to have more flexibility. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Not again. We're adding 4 this time. Okay, the first one is the pivot, which means to rotate. Okay, so that's the first joint. Rotate means it's just going in a circle. That's the only thing that I can do, basically. So if you think about it, it's like you turning on the the faucet on your sink. That's a pivot, just constantly going in one or the other direction. Can't go anywhere else. The second one is the gliding joint. It means that the bones literally move across each other or over each other. These are often found in like our fingers. And right here, like the bones just kind of go back and forward and glide across each other. This is also a pivot if you guys want to know. Like our arms, there's 2 bones in there. There you go. Third one is hinge. You want to think door on this one. Okay, hinge is what we use to attach the door to the wall. Hinge door is probably the best way to keep it going. Okay, so it can just go back and forward. So pivots in circles. Gliding means that the bones can go across one another, so they crisscross. And hinge means back and forward. So your elbow is a hinge. Your knee is a hinge. 4, ball and socket. Basically means you can rotate in a circle and go back and forward. So it can go any direction. All right. Now, where's your ball and sockets? That sounds weird. It's shoulders and your hips. That's basically it. So your arms can rotate and then they can go back and forth or up and down. It's probably the best way to put it. So here's your 4 different joints. Pivot, circle, gliding, over across each other, hinge, back and forward. Ball and socket are basically 1 and 3 put together. Ball and socket, a lot of times if you wear it away and you're constantly doing that movement, you have to have your hips replaced. My mom had both of her hips replaced. It took years to finally figure out that that's what was going on. We thought it was a back problem or a knee problem and everything. Come to find out that she had literally worn away the cartilage and everything that was in there to cushion it. And by rubbing up on the bone, upon bone, the socket, the ball part, had literally worn itself down to where it was flat against her hip. So you can imagine how painful that is when you go from a ball that's supposed to fit here to something that's like this, going against there. So it makes movement a lot harder. If you know somebody that's had any of those replaced, you can even talk to them about it. So that is your notes for this week. What are you doing for homework? Okay, so this is what you're going to do for homework. I have uploaded an outline of the skeletal system. you're going to go in, and if you look, you'll see that there's keywords in there to that match the different parts of the skeletal system. I didn't talk about the different bones that are in the skeletal system. What you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to label those bones. And then on top of that, you're going to take your different kinds of muscles, and you are going to go draw an example of each type of muscle on that skeleton. So if it's a cardiac muscle, we know cardiac muscles are in the heart. I want you to go draw the heart, label it cardiac muscle, and give a little explanation. Why? I don't think you're supposed to explain. I think you're supposed to just put it there. Okay, yeah, you're just supposed to like draw it and label it for the three types of muscles. Also, I want you guys to actually go into that skeletal system and find an example of each type of joints. So I've gone through a couple of them here in this video. Get creative and think outside the box and everything about what other examples in your body qualify for these different types of joints. So if you have ball and socket, you can go right here to the arm to the shoulder, and you can point to it and point out ball and socket joint. So you're basically mapping out the human body with the naming of the skeletal parts, the 3 types of muscles, and the 4 types of joints. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Take a picture, send it to me, and that's your homework for the week. Also, you have vocab. No quiz this week. So, wait, do we have a quiz? Yes, there is a quiz. Okay, because we had finished photosynthesis and cellular respiration. No, there's a quiz. No, you guys had a quiz last week. Excuse this randomness. Okay, so yeah, just vocab and the homework assignment. Play around on the enrichment activities, get some lab points. You guys are pretty close to taking over first place. So, and that's all my craziness for today. So 8th grade, hang in there. You guys are doing great. We got a couple more weeks of school left. Never know what's going to happen. Hopefully I can see your awesome faces and hear your laughs again. Have a great week.